Welcome to the Pal Bros Movie Reviews, brought to you by our supporters at Patreon. Our reviews are more than just reviews. We are here to build the new Christendom by exposing the bad writers, money lovers, and sexual perverts found in Hollywood. Continue listening to know what type of content we as Christians should be consuming and what we should stray away from. This is the Pal Bros Movie Reviews. If you wish to support us in our mission, head over to patreon.com/thepalbros or follow the link in the show notes. There you'll gain access to our exclusive show, the Pal Bros Mini Reviews, as well as early access to both movie chronicles and movie reviews by the Pal Bros. And now, on with the show. Now, if you would have told me, say, a year ago, when we were planning this podcast, that we were going to have a movie in our top 10 that was starring Nicolas Cage, well, I probably would have believed you, but it's still kind of crazy. I mean, this guy who's known for having just terrible movies, sometimes a good hit here or there, but a masterpiece? I don't know. But here we are. Here we are reviewing what we consider one of our top 5 movies. Not even just top 10, but top 5. That's pretty crazy. In this movie, we really see a range of acting and storytelling and cinematography, score, just all around incredible filmmaking. So stick around, listen in as we review Pig.
Welcome to the Powell Bros Movie Reviews, here where pigs are not just good for bacon. Make good movies.
Yeah.
I am one of your hosts, Trent Powell, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tobiah Powell. How are you?
Yep, doing good. Yeah.
Good.
Excited for this one. This was one of my movies that I picked out.
Also one that I had on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the ones I stole. I had it really high up, so.
Yeah, this was number 2.
Yeah, for sure. So Trent, what'd you think?
Well, don't we usually have the one who chose the movie give their initial thoughts first? Oh, wait, no, or is it the other way around?
No, it's the other way around, yeah.
Oh, never mind. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, I'm good. All right, so, yeah, I love this movie. I think it is really well done. It tells a pretty decent story and has good characters, good character development, and growth. This one's gonna be a really good discussion because I do have a lot to say about it and a lot of things I would like to discuss and talk to you about. And overall, it's a good movie. There are some plot problems that I have with it. There's some things that happen throughout the film that I'm like, okay, that doesn't necessarily make sense, or maybe I need to explain more or something. But overall, it's a decent film. We're following Nicolas Cage. This is our second Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah.
After
third because we did both Ghost Riders, but yeah.
No, we didn't do both Ghost Riders.
We didn't?
No.
Oh, no, we didn't. Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry.
One. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, so second Nicolas Cage movie, and we're both big Nicolas Cage fans.
Yeah.
He is a national treasure, and he's been doing a lot of these obscure indie films. I don't know if you call this indie film actually, but like a low budget film by. Well, I mean, this is a directorial debut for this director. This is his first feature length film, and so and man, this was a fun one. I enjoyed this one. I mean, it was fun. I don't know if fun's the right word, but it's enjoyable. So
yeah, no,
that's
for
all
sure.
I got right there.
Yeah, there's a few things about this movie, like you had mentioned, like the plot things that you were unsure about. There's definitely a lot of obscure things that the director really like. They're like things that like aren't really explained. It's just you just kind of have to get like understand that no, you don't know who this person is or what's going on here. I don't know if this is what you're thinking, but it made me think of this, is that because there's a lot of like characters in here a few different times where he goes and visits someone or whatever, and it's not even mentioned who this person is. So there's just like this
I'm fine with
implied
that.
like
Yeah.
like you're you just have to accept like, no, I don't know who this person is, and they're not going to tell me, but there was definitely a good pass there, and with the acting and the music especially, and the tone of these scenes, like you really get like there's a great pass there, and yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So like what what are your kind of overall thoughts of the film
Yeah,
generally?
pretty similar to you. I when I first saw this movie, I loved it, and then as soon as it came out on DVD, wait, did I even watch it in theaters? I don't think I watched it in theaters. I think I just watched it I think I bought the DVD.
Yeah.
Like I think I bought it before I'd even seen it, and I just knew I was gonna love it. And I watched it like probably 5 times at least as soon as I bought it, and loved it. And then I might have seen it like once or twice since then, but it's been a little while since I've seen it. And there's definitely some things, like some issues here and there, but yeah, no, I mean, I still love this movie. It's a great movie, and just the character and the development, and the maturing of the character, and just his journey throughout the movie. I really enjoy it. Very gritty character. I like gritty. I think we have a few gritty characters in some of the movies I picked out, but
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Do you want to jump into the plot? Walk through the movie?
Yeah. Yeah, so we starts out pretty simple. Just Nicolas Cage's character just minding his own business, just living life secluded and alone in the woods, and just him and his pig. And he's a truffle hunter.
Yep.
Him and his pig,
which is a real thing.
And yep,
they're truffle pigs. I think dogs also do it as well.
Yeah. And yeah, so we just kind of see him just kind of living life and just being in the outdoors, enjoying his pig, and just super simple life. And then we get this guy that comes in with a Mustang, or was it Camaro?
I think it's Camaro.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Camaro. Guy that comes in with a Camaro, rolling up real loud into his driveway,
playing classical music.
Yeah, playing classical music, and we get a shot of the pig runs up to him, and he's like all disgusted by the pig, and very city boy character, and yeah, so he's has no care at all for the pig, and
right.
Kind of just wants to get business done with this crazy old guy that lives alone in the woods. Just wants to get his truffles and go, and so he's just trying to buy some truffles from him, and yeah, and then he does. He leaves, and then we get a scene a little bit later where he's just sleeping in his house, him and his pig, and some people break in, and what's the character's name? I need to stop playing Nick Cage. Robin.
Mm-hmm.
They nick Robin unconscious.
Robin.
And steal the pig. Well, I shouldn't say they steal the pig, then knock him unconscious.
Right.
And as they're stealing him, he's fighting, trying to save his pig, and they like wrap it in a bag and leave. We don't really see their faces or anything.
Really loud.
Yeah, a lot of squealing and stuff. So then as soon as that happens, he goes to the next morning, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
When he wakes up, he gets to his truck. His truck doesn't even work because he hasn't like, I mean, it looks like it's been sitting there for many, many years.
Right.
And starts walking to town and comes into a diner and asks for some lady. And they're like, she hasn't worked in here in 10 years.
I didn't say she
Or she
died
died
10
10
years
years
ago.
ago. Yeah. And so that immediately kind of sets us up with like a time frame of just how long he's been away
Right.
and just living in his little cabin
But even
in the
like this
woods.
first like 10 minutes of the film, like we don't know a lot, but we know enough about the character already, that he's secluded, that he's a loner, that he's had hard times come upon him, and he has a history in this town or these people. He sells truffles to this kid and whatnot, and so he's in the truffle business, and he loves his pig. So enough to set up the story to propel us forward.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to kind of pick up so where we kind of go from there after?
Sure.
After he goes to the diner and
I'm trying to refresh my brain as well.
yeah, me too.
He goes to the diner, and after that finds out, okay, this girl isn't here, or this lady isn't here, that's probably going to help me. So doesn't he reach out to the boy? He reaches out to him, picks him. The kid comes and picks him up at the restaurant, hops in the car, and he's like, hey, like I need you to help me find my pig, and whatnot, and then I think he says like, what like, why do I have to do that? Like, why should I help you? He's like, if you want my truffles, you need to help me find my pig. Also, one thing that we see when he's with the pig is he doesn't actually use the pig, which plays into the story later. He doesn't actually use the pig to find the truffles. He literally is searching himself while the pig's following him. He picks one up, puts one in his mouth, or puts the dirt in his mouth or something, and is able to figure out, okay, this is a good truffle or something, which is just a key for later. But he loves his pig. Pig's gone. He needs Amir is his name, the kid's name. It's like, hey, I need your help me find my pig. All right. And so they find, he takes them to this, it's kind of interesting. It's like this underground, it's kind of like, like they're like not mob bosses, but like they're drug dealers, kind of, they're dealing it, truffles and stuff. So they go to this lady who's out in the forest and, working with, she has a whole bunch of workers, and, they're moving product around, and this is where Amir brings the truffles. So he brings Rob to her. He's like, hey, like, I lost my pig, and someone took my pig, someone attacked me, and then she freaks out because it's like, oh no, the whole business is compromised if someone's willing to steal a truffle pig. Like, that's not good. This is gonna throw things out of whack, and I can't have my dealers messing around with other dealers or other providers and whatnot. So she's like, okay, I need to figure out who did this. So she goes to this couple that live in a trailer, and they're like super, they're stoners, probably stoned out of their mind in this scene. Yeah. And they're like, we took the pig, but someone hired us to do it. Someone told us to, and they explained it, like, hey, like, we don't really know who this guy is. It gives like a brief description of who the guy is that
he drove a nice car
and whatnot. So city folk. And interesting, like, he doesn't retaliate in this scene, because so you think like, okay, that this loner lives in a forest by himself. It's just him and his pig. Someone comes in, messes with his stuff, breaks in his house, steals his pig. You think that, all right, now it's time for Nick Cage to get armored up and go on a killing spree, go all John Wick style on them. Don't steal my pig. Yeah. That's what you expect, And then he finds the couple that took this pig, so he's gonna show him who's boss. The Baba Yaga is coming after them, the boogeyman. But no, we don't get that. He actually doesn't even. He's not even like really angry at them. He doesn't show like any retaliation. He probably just assumes that this couple is just just trying to find a way to make money, and not that what they did was right, but
Yeah.
they did that. So
Yeah, for sure.
So they get back in the car. Amir, I remember he says like, "Hey, like, why don't you just get a new pig? Like, why is this such a big deal? You can find a new pig, you can train him." And then Nicolas Cage's like, "No, I need my pig. He's like, where I can't have another one. I need her back." And so all right, I'll keep helping you. I can't knock on every door in Portland, but I'll help you. And then I think we get to, I think Rob tells him, "Hey, take me to this restaurant or something." They go to the restaurant, try to get in, can't, or meets with the guy. I can't remember his name, but meets this guy who's kind of like runs his business, and he's like, he says something about Rob, because we obviously we don't know a whole lot about Robin, but what we do know is, he's somewhat well known, because the guy says, "Your name used to mean something around here, but it doesn't anymore," something along those lines. And so he's trying to figure out, okay, where's my pig? Because he goes to him and says, "Hey, where's my pig?" And he's like, he's not going to tell him. And so go a little farther. We find out there's this underground fight club gambling situation for restaurants and chefs in the
For chefs,
food business. Okay, this is kind of the first point where I'm like kind of confused. I don't know if this is real, if this is like legit something that goes on, but it's a thing.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't bother me that much. It's just like one thing. It's like, okay, I mean, this is kind of odd that this is here and this is happening, but it is. It's part of the story. So Rob, he goes down to this ring, and then he writes his name on the wall, saying, "I'm next," pretty much. And it's a big deal because apparently his name is well known. He is a big deal in this arena, or at least he used to be, in the restaurant business. So he writes his name down. He gets chosen or whatever, and then basically the big deal is you get beat up until you can't go any farther. You can't go anymore. So you got to get punched in the face, and if you can survive, if you can make it through, then you win. People place bets like, hey, how long can you last and whatnot. I don't know, is there any more to that I'm missing?
Well, I think didn't nobody want to fight him or hit him. And it took a moment for someone to step up and actually do it.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
Because everybody knew who he was when he wrote down his name,
right?
And they're like, oh, "It's Robin," and so nobody wanted to step up. And then it's just kind of like a little fluttering thing. Like it wasn't like they didn't make it a huge thing, but anyway, eventually someone did step up and punch him a lot.
Rob gets the absolute crap beaten out of him.
Yeah,
and then that's how Nicolas Cage is going to look for the rest of the movie. Beaten up, bloodied.
Yeah.
Not going to take a shower. Not going to clean himself up.
Yeah.
And that's really... So this movie is broken up into 3 parts. And I'm pretty sure that is the end of part 1. Yep, end of part 1.
I would say so.
And each part is titled after a certain dish or meal.
Oh, yeah. That's what you're talking about, yeah. Yeah, no, I think so. Because next they go to the restaurant, right?
Shortly after, yeah. Or back at the it
takes a minute for them to get to
Amir takes him back to his apartment, which Amir even when he's getting beaten up, Amir shows some sympathy towards him, because we don't know much about him, like except for he's a hotshot. He's making a name for himself in this truffle business. But
he's pretty young compared to everybody else around him.
Pretty arrogant, but he feels sympathy for this guy, for Robin. Mm-hmm. So he takes him in, nurses him back to health, and then they talk about going to the restaurant. And all right, because shortly after that, we're starting to learn a little bit about his life. We find out that Amir's dad owns the restaurant that Robin's trying to get in. because Robin's like, hey, can you get me reservations here? He's like, I can try. It's gonna be really hard. So he goes, finds one of the guys he deals with works at the restaurant. He's like, hey, could you get me some reservations for me and a friend? Like, please help me. And the guy's like, nope, can't do it. And you have to book like months in advance for this restaurant. It's not gonna happen. And he's like, well, my friend's Robin, was it Felch? Finch?
Feld or something. Yeah.
Robin Feld. We'll go with that.
Yeah. Feld.
My friend's Robin Feld. And he kind of feels like, it was like kind of like the last resort. And he says it and it's like, yeah, he's in pretty much. And so we get, but before the restaurant, we get another scene that is a little odd to me. Robin, though I get what they're doing, Robin is walking down the street and he walks by what seems to be his old house, which it is. And he goes in the backyard and there's this kid sitting on the porch just playing. And so Robin goes up and sits next to him and starts talking to him.
Yeah.
And I'm asking, where's this kid's parents? Like, I mean, I guess it's, it's your backyard.
Yeah.
You think your kid's safe, but it's so weird that he would go up to this kid and start talking to him. Talks about a tree that used to be there, and
yeah,
it's what it is.
Gerangia tree or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Because I thought it was gonna lead somewhere. I thought it was gonna turn out like, oh, this is a sibling or something, like it.
Yeah,
lives there, and this is his nephew. I don't know. I thought it was
there's
somewhere.
nothing that really went with that, and it was just kind of like a reminiscing moment for him.
Right.
Yeah, definitely an odd scene.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily fit in well.
Yeah.
Just kind of I don't know. It was definitely a weird one.
It's okay.
Yeah, so as soon as Amir tells the guy that it's Robin Feld's name, he gets him a reservation at this extremely
prestigious,
high-end, prestigious restaurant. Then they go, and Robin just sticks his fingers in this this it starts with this waitress. It's giving them their food, and it's like this cloud of, I don't know, fog in a bowl that's over the food.
Yeah.
And she's like explaining the mysticism of the fog and how it brings out the flavors of the food, and then she lifts up the bowl, and then the fog comes out, and Nicolas Cage just grabs it and throws it in his mouth with his two fingers.
And he's like, I'd like to see the chef.
Yeah, I'd like to see the chef. Yeah.
Yep.
That was a funny scene. And
she's like explaining the aroma and the atmosphere that this food it exemplifies and creates, and it's nothing really about like that actual food itself necessarily. It's about the atmosphere of it. Which the chef goes on when he comes out, explains it a little better, which we can get to in a second. But as far as like the deconstruction of the food.
Yeah, and I think they did. Him and Amir have like a little conversation before that, and Nicolas Cage sticks his finger in the food, his thumb, and presses on it. Yeah, that was weird too. He's always doing weird things in this movie. But yeah, eventually, the chef does come out, and I can't remember what they talk about before he recognizes. I don't think it's anything important, but
I think he says something about truffle pigs and like, hey, like where do you get your truffles from? Or like where do you know where pig might be? Missing pig. The guy kind of acts like he has no idea what he's talking about or even who he is, but then he eventually recognizes him. He's like, oh, you're Robin Finch.
Yep.
And so that spurs on like more conversation about, oh wow, like you're one of the most renowned chefs of all time, or in this area in all of Portland. And
he also mentions that the chef mentions to him, he's like, hey, do you remember I worked for you? Yeah. And he's like, yeah, it was for 2 months and then I fired you. And or did he quit?
I think he fired him.
Yeah, he fired him. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then they kind of just talk about. Well, I guess the biggest takeaway of their conversation was talking about about the food and the atmosphere of the restaurant, and Nicolas Cage's character, his point was to tell him that, like, this is not what you wanted. Like, what you're selling is fake. Everything's fake.
Right.
The food is fake. You're fake. And because he is like, the chef is like trying to deconstruct food and make it something that it's not, and not, just a good tasting meal. It's about the atmosphere and the people he's serving, and the feelings that everybody gets, and all these things. And he has, like, he's disconnected from actually making the food really great. And
which is kind of a meta commentary on a lot of modern day entertainment and such, is that everyone's all about deconstructing stories and characters and such, and they're reconstructing them in their own way, missing the true substance and what makes a good character, what makes a good story. You have to come up with something new that appeals to modern audiences, and and it appeals to the mobs, or that satisfies the mobs, so they don't come after you. I feel like it was kind of, I don't know if that was intentional from the director, probably not, or the writer, but kind of a commentary on that, because he says it's not real, it's fake. This world that you're creating, that the world of entertainment that we're seeing now, it's like, this is not real, and it's
it's to really, a lot of this movie is to show, or to, like, expose, like, the people that have completely lost touch with reality, and all they care about is, like, their status and their money and the opinions of others. They don't know, like, just the things that they should care about. They just don't care about.
Right.
And this was kind of like the biggest stepping stone into that.
Exactly. And then following that restaurant scene, because the guy kind of loses it, and he's like, because he realizes that, because he chugs that glass of wine, but he pretty much realizes, like, oh yeah, you're right. But that was kind of all we got from him. Does he?
Well, there's that big conversation of him saying, like, this isn't the restaurant you wanted. Remember when you worked for me?
Yeah.
What did you always say you wanted?
Right.
And it was an English pub.
Yep.
And he realized Robin made the chef realize, like, no, this isn't what I wanted. I don't like this life. It is fake. I am being fake. You're right. I want an English pub. And so he's just his whole life is just kind of collapsing right in front of him.
Right. Oh yeah, we find out that it was actually Amir's dad who likely took the pig, because it's something the chef had commented about. Yeah.
Is that where we find that out?
Yep. Because that's when when Rob gets angry and starts kicking his Camaro, and then he goes and steals someone's bike, and then yells at it, does the whole Nick Cage yell.
Yeah.
Yells at him,
yeah.
Steals a bike, which is another thing. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that as far as, like, character wise. Like, I mean, I guess, like, he's so focused and only cares about getting his pig back, and he's willing to steal from someone else to do it. It was whatever, because he needed a ride.
Yeah, that was a weaker moment for sure.
Yeah. Because continuing on, then he rides to Amir's dad's house, right? I think that's next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep, he does, and talks with him a bit. Man, I can't remember what their conversation was about. The first conversation. That's when he was offering him a ton of money.
Yep.
He's like, forget about it. Like, forget about your pig. I'll pay you $5,000.
Right.
$10,000. $10 million. And Robin just kept insisting, no, I just want my pig. Just give me my pig. And
he's like, I'm not gonna give it to you.
yeah.
And then he says,
he's like, I'm not giving it to you.
Robin says to him, like, were you always this way before she died or something? And then he, Amir's dad kind of quirks back and says, were you? You know, kind of showing that these are both broken characters who have lost something, and they're going on their own journeys and dealing with grief in their own ways. Because this movie's really about learning how to grieve in a right way, and but recognizing how different people grieve in certain ways and deal with the loss, deal with loss, and anyway. Also before this, Amir goes to, because Amir says to Robin early on in the film that his mom killed herself. You know, so you think, so the dad drove her to kill herself, but we find out actually before that scene, I'm pretty sure, before they go to the house, before Robin goes to the house, that Amir goes to this hospice or hospital, wherever, and he's talking to his mom from on the outside the door. He's not willing to go in, and he basically, you know, is saying, he says, like, why won't Dad just let you die? So likely she's in a coma, and his dad's just not willing to let her go, and he's trying to keep her alive as long as he can.
Yeah, that was a pretty big moment for sure.
And then
where do we go from there?
Amir and Nicolas Cage kind of have their call to action before the third act moment, where, you know, they're talking. They both, you know, they separated for a while. They kind of come back. So I don't know if we're like, I think this is starting the third act somewhat. Where Amir's like, so what are we gonna do? And Rob's like, we're gonna get my pig back. You know, which is the equivalent of saying, we're going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
We're going to get my pig back. And so Amir's like, okay, how are we going to do that? And Nicolas Cage gives him a list of items to go grab, to go purchase or find. And he's like, I can't get all these. And he's like, I know some guys, or I'll just tell them it's for me or something like that. So he goes off.
Yeah, he basically just said, use my name.
Yeah, use my name.
And then Amir was even like, you want me to use your name? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, before that, Robin was like, he's like, I really am a nobody.
Yeah.
My name doesn't mean anything. And up until that moment, and then even Amir was surprised, like, oh, you want to use your name?
Right.
And he's like, yep.
All right.
And then this is when Robin goes to the bakery, right?
Yep.
Or was there another scene before that?
Well, Amir goes to the funeral home or whatever it is that has the wine glasses. But that's also where Rob's wife was buried.
Oh yeah.
So she's buried there, and the caretaker says, like, I also, he didn't ask me to, but I saved him a spot right next to her.
Yeah.
So just acknowledging, like, you know, he's close to death, which I'll talk about towards the end of the film, about some thoughts I had about it, about that. But then we get the bakery scene, which I thought was really well done, overall. Because what did we get? We have this. So Rob is going to this bakery. He's trying to get what was it? Some kind of biscuit. Get some biscuits, okay, from this woman.
Yeah.
Some biscuits, because he obviously used to. We don't know who this is. Like, is this his daughter? Is this a sister? Is this a niece? We don't know. Did she used to work for him? Probably. But we find out that this used to be his restaurant, and so this lady turned it into a bakery. And he comes to see her, and the whole scene is from one camera shot. The camera lingers, doesn't move, doesn't change, doesn't cut. It stays, and it's from a distance. We don't get close-ups of the people, of the two characters talking. You know, it's from a distance, in like the corner of the room, and we're looking down at Rob and this lady as they discuss and talk and bring up old tidings, bring up things of the past, and talking about how she turned the restaurant into a bakery, and he's basically proud of her for doing that. And then as it concludes, he asks her like, "Hey, do you have any of your biscuits?" Or I can't remember what they were, but do you have any more of them?
Yeah.
Could I have some freshly baked? And she's like, "Yeah, I got some." And then he makes a comment about the windows, which is interesting because didn't
the curtains.
The curtains.
He said you changed the curtains.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, we made them shorter." And he's like, "Looks good."
Yeah.
Then he walks out.
Which is I think he made a comment about his wife at that moment. I think his wife.
Oh yeah.
I think I can't remember. She wanted curtains, or like he always had curtains and she didn't like that or something. Because at the end of the movie, which is interesting, is when you go to his cabin, it shows, because I think even at the beginning it shows intentionally his windows, like it lingers on his windows because they're like there's no curtains on them, so they're open. I don't know if that had anything to do with, or if that really
maybe
is potential, but so yeah, from here where are we at? Where are we going?
After that, we go to a kitchen, right? And him and Amir meet back up.
Mm-hmm.
And we get
Amir's house. Or his dad's house.
This was his dad's house.
Yeah.
Where Chef Cage, I guess. I was trying to think of a clever punny name for Nicolas Cage, but couldn't think of anything. Anyway, we got Chef Cage in the kitchen and cooking away.
And this is the moment where you'd expect the boss battle, the final fight. You'd expect him to come in guns blazing. I want my pig. You don't take my pig from me.
But instead he takes the road of a humble servant and
rides a piecemeal.
Prepares a meal. Prepares a meal and offers it to Amir's dad, and Amir gets his dad to come to the table, and his dad takes, I don't know, I think there's no words spoken. His dad takes a bite and begins to cry at that moment, right?
It was after the wine. So he takes a bite and leaves a little bit of food in his mouth, gets a glass of wine, drinks it. He's a little curious about what's going on, drinks it, and then freezes. And I think he takes another bite, but then or maybe not, I don't know. But either way,
I think you're right.
He completely loses it, breaks down crying, and runs out of the kitchen, or out of the dining room, to go grab a glass of whiskey or something. Drinks it, and then Rob follows him in, and he's like, "What do you want from me?" He's like, "I want my pig." And he's like,
"I want my pig."
And he tells him eventually, and then after some more conversation, he tells him, "I'm sorry, but he's dead." Or is it he or she? She did. I think it's she. The pig.
She.
Yeah, she's dead. Apparently the handlers mishandled her, and were too rough with her, and she passed away. Which I don't know, like, why didn't he tell him that earlier? I think he just wanted him to just get over it, or he felt bad that what happened or something. I don't know. But tells him, "Hey, like, your pig's dead," and then we have Robin just completely break down and lose it. And, he's crying. And what's interesting is, like, I keep commenting on this, but Nicolas Cage's character doesn't throw a punch at all in this film, and it's just really interesting how he's pretty tactical in how he's going about things. Even with the chef in the restaurant, he's pretty calm with him, and he's unpacking his insecurities and the issues that he has and where he's at in his life as a chef, and helping Robin helping him realize, like, this is not who you want to be. I fired you because you were doing the wrong thing. You wanted to open up this English pub, and now you're here. You're a chef of, like, a prestigious restaurant, great, but you're prestigious. I keep saying prestigious.
Yeah.
This well-renowned restaurant, and yet you're not happy. You know, you're not happy deconstructing food and pleasing the weirdos in Portland. It's like you want to open an English pub, you know. So, but he's tactical and caring also, and how he goes about interacting with different characters, even how he's interacted with Amir. You know, he was a little harsh to him, but you know, he's still bringing him along in this journey. And I do love that first scene where they meet. Rob doesn't say a word to him. Where when I don't know if we mentioned this, but I know we mentioned the scene. I don't know if we mentioned this aspect specifically. When Amir came to the cabin, you know, Amir's talking to him, like, and asking him questions and stuff. And he's like, hey, like, you know, you don't even have a phone. Like, how do I know? Or you know, you have like a phone line or something. How do I know? How am I going to know if you die, if you just fall over and die, or if I come out here and you're dead? And he just shuts the door on him and doesn't talk. So, but anyways,
interesting.
Both characters, you know, or well, I mean, Robin's character in particular, it's just an interesting study. But here he finally breaks down, and he's like, "My pig's gone. You know, I've lost her." And then we have that scene in the restaurant where, you know, it's not necessarily a typical structure, because this is like where all is lost moment, right? This is Dark Night of the Soul. But it's after kind of the climax of the movie, right? Am I missing that?
Are you at what scene?
Oh, like after he finds out the pig's dead, and I mean, it's kind of the conclusion. Like I'm saying, like, not. It's like it's not structured normally necessarily as we've seen before, which is fine. It can be handled well. But the pig's dead, you know, and so all he worked for. But I do love that scene where he provides a meal. He provides a piecemeal. Like food is always significant in stories, in real life. Food brings people together. Food is used in celebration. It's used in parties. It's a way to just it's a unique way where people come together to fellowship, to enjoy each other, to enjoy life together, and to indulge in this common thing that we have provided for us. And but it also is, like, you know, often a time of peace, you know. So Robin, he's, you know, he's at his wit's end. He's lost the last thing that he has of his wife, pretty much, like, because the pig really is resembling his wife in this film, because he's lost his wife. This is all he has left, and now his pig's gone. Like I said at the beginning of the film, he didn't need his pig. Like, he can find truffles on his own. He showed that, but it's a companion to him after he lost his wife, because he's learning how to grieve and how to move past this. But food is, you know, it's always significant, especially in stories. You know, it brings people together. People who love one another can gather around this meal, but also it can be used to bring peace among enemies. You know, it's a common thing that we all enjoy, that we all need. Also, food also resembles death and resurrection, and we talk about death and resurrection a lot on the show. But it's a picture of that. You know, in order for us to have food, what has to happen? Something has to die. An animal has to die. A plant has to die. You know, fruit pulled from the branch. You know, something dies in order, and then what does it do in us? It gives us life. It resurrects us. It helps us continue on. We can't live without it. You know, so that's death and resurrection. And so when we gather among a table together to feast, you know, we're partaking of food that has died, and it's giving us life, and it's also giving us joy and fellowship and camaraderie, and a time for us to enjoy one another and enjoy life together, but also bring peace where there is no peace, and bring peace among enmity and so forth. And that, of course, more imagery is can be laid over that as we look, you know, as Christians, as we look in Scripture. We know that Jesus is the bread of life. He gives food to us that is everlasting, so that when we eat of Christ, we live forever. Jesus also calls us to go to a covenant feast meal every Lord's Day, where we eat bread and drink wine. And we're fellowshipping with Christ when that happens, and so forth. So food is significant, and that's one reason why I do love the climax of this movie. Is why I love this story. I love how they wrote this into this story and concluded it, because you're expecting this final boss battle. You're expecting him to even get the pig, but we find out that he doesn't get it. But
yeah,
in that he develops his character fully.
Well, yeah,
and go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, his hero's sacrifice moment was serving his enemy.
Yes, good one.
Serving food to his enemy. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Right, yeah, he had no reason to do this for this man. But this man, and the reason it's significant is because, I don't know if we said this, this reminds him, the meal reminds him of a meal he once had at one of Robin's restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
And Robin says, I remember every meal I've ever made. Because so he remembers making this specific meal. And I do love it. I just love this. Earlier in the film, Amir mentions a meal that he remembers having as a kid, and he remembers the food and the wine, but what he remembers about it is he remembers how his family was together, how his family was happy, his mom was happy, his dad was happy, and they were together.
Yeah.
And that he holds on to that, and so Rob uses that meal to finally break the villain, the antagonist, to the point where he doesn't have any. He realizes he doesn't have anything left, and he needs to grieve. He needs to move on. He needs to let go. While Robin also needs to do the same. So, it was just well done, well told, and well constructed, as far as the story goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because and that's kind of like like I said, it's like the all is lost, dark night of the soul, but it's what Rob needed to move on, as we find out, because he goes to the restaurant with Amir, or not Amir. Rob needed it. Sorry, he goes to the restaurant with Amir, and I can't even remember.
Are you talking about like the diner scene?
Yeah, diner.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. I was like, what restaurant?
No, not restaurant.
No, I remember. Sorry.
Go to the diner, and I can't even remember what was said necessarily. Do you remember?
No, I can't really remember.
Yeah.
It's kind of close to, I mean, it's definitely close to like their story.
Yes.
Together. And because I remember when they left the restaurant, I can't remember the words, but like I remember like this was like a moment where you see like that Amir like really changed. Like he was a completely different person.
Yeah.
Like you really saw the change in him, because like when we first saw him, he was like basically kicking the pig, like get out of my way. You're a gross little pig. And talking to, Robin, like, you need to get a cell phone so I don't see you drop dead, and just not really much care for anybody, but then at this moment you like really see like, he actually cares about this man now, and he wants to be better. Oh, I think they were talking a bit about, was there some conversation about him like moving away from his father and like,
I think so,
and like starting his own thing, because he kind of was like holding on. He was like kind of competing with his dad,
right?
But now he wants to kind of start his own thing,
right? Pretty much,
or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, talking about moving on, because that's where they're both at.
Yeah,
and then they get up and go to the car, and then Rob's like, I'll see you Monday or something, like like they're gonna, like, he's like, we're gonna continue doing this, and then, but it's interesting because then Amir goes in his car and then sits there, puts on, there he listens to this, like,
that's the scene I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he listens to this it's like a commentary
Opera
on classical music.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, sorry, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, which is something you listened to earlier and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
it was like motivational audio.
Oh, okay.
Is what it was.
Oh,
it's motivational speaking, saying like, basically to just work really hard, and essentially that working hard is just all that matters.
Mm-hmm. And then he turns it off, and just kind of sits there in the car, and almost like dread, it's hard to really read where he's at, because that's the last we see of him. That's it. We don't really know where he goes from there. But then Rob, he goes back to his cabin, and without his pig, goes into his room, sits on his bed, takes off his shoes, and oh right, never mind. Sorry.
We forgot. Well, he grabs a music box.
Right. So, but before that, he goes down to the river, and what do we have here? A baptism scene. Ding, ding, ding. Water. Resurrection. Death.
Yeah.
Death, resurrection. Baptism. You see this a lot. Talk about this a lot. Happens a lot in movies. He literally, after everything he's gone through, he goes down to a river and washes himself. Washes his face and everything. And, that's intentional. So it's a baptism scene. It's a renewal. It's showing us, the audience, like, he's changed. He's no longer who he was before. He's changed. And then we see that when he gets to the cabin and he throws in the tape of his wife, which we didn't talk about this, but earlier at the beginning of the film, he puts the tape in and listens to it for like 5 seconds and takes it out. Like, he can't bear it. He goes, puts it in, keeps it in, listens to it for a while. It's showing that he's ready to move on. He's ready to grieve, to finish grieving his wife, and he's a changed character. He's a changed man, and he's gone through death and resurrection. And the pig, which was really just like a symbolization of his wife, or a part of his wife that he held on to, that is now gone, and he has to live with that. He's ready to move on, which, interesting enough, one thing that's common, when older men lose their wives, typically it only takes about 6 months for them to also pass away. Like, that's usually how it goes. When the wife goes first, the husband doesn't last much longer. I'm pretty sure it was about 6. Well, no, it was probably longer than that. I don't even know how long it was since his wife died. I was thinking it was 6 months, so that doesn't make any sense. It was quite a bit longer.
Do they say? I
don't know, but like he goes to the diner and finds out that waitress or manager or whatever has been dead for 10 years. So it could have been years. My point is, I think one thing that might be happening here, I don't know if this is intentional, but I think Rob dies after this. Spoiler alert. I don't know. I think that he's laying himself to rest. Like, even when he says, like, I'll see you Monday, I think even Amir gets that, like, oh, I don't think I'm actually going to see him. I think this is it. I think that might be played into why he's acting the way he is when he sits in the car and he's kind of processing everything. I think
he cries when he's in the car too.
Oh yeah, he does. You're right.
He cries. Yeah.
Right. He kind of breaks down. His dad broke down. Rob broke down. He breaks down. But then Rob, I think, goes back to the cabin. And I think I think the point is, I could be completely off, and this is just a theory. I think the point is that he dies, but because he's able to move on, he doesn't have anything left, right? Like, which also, like, I question, like, okay, is there a little bit of nihilism in this, where it's like that, there's no hope, there's nothing in life, like, he's lost everything, and he's just gonna die, a lonely old man. I don't know. I question whether or not that's ingrained.
I don't think so, because of the music that he's listening to. I don't think that's at all what they were going for.
Yeah.
I think it was definitely a peace thing, not
right, because they show that he has changed. Even if he does die, but they don't show him dying, so he's moved on, he's processed, he's grieved, and so forth. So
yeah.
So then concludes our story.
Yeah.
What do you think? Any major things about the plot and story that?
Just
saw.
I think like for most of like the beginning of the movie before we like really find out like who he is, I think there was just something really captivating about like the power of his name and like the mysteriousness around him. I think there's something captivating about that, and I just think that really worked really well.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that he was like essentially like on top of the world in his area, and then he gave it all up after his wife died.
All right.
And I just think it's interesting.
And you have an indie film that you made that's inspired by this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely made me think about
My movie Stanton. Yeah, this movie definitely inspired me. And
if you'd like to watch that movie, and please,
any similarities you see are non-intentional.
non-intentional. But if you would like to see that
for legal reasons, they're non-intentional.
You see the movie that was inspired by Pig, go ahead, please support us on Patreon. $5 a month, a cup of coffee. Go ahead. We have all kinds of content on there. We have two full-length feature films. We're going to have a TV show that we're starting up that will be available there. We have all kinds of after-hours talks and discussions, multiple mini reviews. Lots of content for you all there if you'd like to support us and also get good content while you support us. So please do. Also, if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, please like, comment, and subscribe. Comment your favorite Nicolas Cage movie. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Yep.
Mine is either Face Off or National Treasure.
And if you subscribe to Patreon, we always take recommendations for mini reviews.
Yes.
We'll review whatever you want us to review. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else. Any other last thoughts?
Don't think so. I think I covered everything I wanted to say.
We went through the whole movie for sure. So, yeah, I don't think I've got anything else.
All right. Cool. Well, you want to give us our rating? I want to say my issues they're just a few plot points, a few things, like even the fact that he's walking around Portland looking like a hobo who's been beat up like crazy and hasn't showered in like a week,
and he's able to sit in the one of the most prestigious restaurants, and they don't kick him out.
Right. It's like, I mean, I guess
one that's
maybe
all
it's
about
they know
one that's all about atmosphere.
Right. I guess because they know who he is, but they also kind of make it clear that a lot of people don't know who he is. Like Amir,
they don't.
Amir doesn't know who he is, and so I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just a few things, very convenient things. Overall, if you lay those things aside, I think it's a really good movie. It's well done, well written, well told.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish they would have done a little more with Amir's character. You helped point that a little bit because I kind of concluded that they didn't do much with his character, but I guess you say he learned how to care. He changed.
No, I think he had he had a very big and obvious transformation, I think, because if you think of like the first scene that we see him in,
you're right,
and the last scene we see him in, like he's like emotionless and cold-hearted.
You're right,
kind of like his dad.
Yeah.
And then in the end, he's emotional and crying over this friend that he's made.
Yep.
And just the state of his life, and when he turns off that music, that audio is just like such a captivating moment. And it was like his toxic father that was always talking into him, like, you need to be better,
yeah,
you're not good enough, and then he turns it off, and I thought it was just a very captivating moment.
Yeah, cinematography in this film was incredible. Well done, especially just for the low budget film. This guy's directorial debut, I can't remember his name. Directed by Michael Saranowski. He also recently did Quiet Place Day One, which I think I did a mini review of. Pretty sure
I'm doing a mini review of.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Quiet Place Day One is another movie.
You didn't do a mini review of it, did you? I hope we didn't both do a mini review of it.
I mean, it's okay if we did, but I don't think so.
No, it's fine.
Anyways,
I
think you're right. I think I was going to. It was one of the movies that I watched, but I picked a different one.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I might have. I don't know. Whatever. So
we'll see.
Anyways, he did that one.
If I have to record another one, it's fine.
So I thought, well done film, great movie. What would you rate this?
We should also talk about the music. The
Yeah,
music was
score was
really good in this
incredible.
movie.
Great.
Yeah, definitely well fit score.
Definitely.
I don't know. I kind of want to hear yours first.
Okay. This one's hard. I don't think it's gonna. What do we? I actually can't find.
So 9-4
9-4.
for Whiplash and 9-5 for Shawshank.
Right. So I'm gonna go. Just because, I don't know. I just did. I had some issues when I was watching the film that took me out of it a little bit. So for that reason, I'm gonna give it a high 8. Like, I'm gonna go 8.8 on mine. Which incredible, like, great film. Like, I'm not. That's still high score. But I'm gonna go 8.8.
I was gonna give it a 9.
Okay, and just 9 flat.
Yeah.
Do you want me in the middle? Do 8.9?
I don't want to go below 9.
Okay. I was thinking 8.9, and then I brought it down a little bit. We can do 9. I think 9's fair.
Yeah, I think 9 is very fair.
It has very few flaws, and it does have flaws, but it's few. And
I don't know. We can do 8-9. That's fine. We have a lot to go through.
We do have a lot.
And think of this. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
No, I think 8-9 is fair enough.
And it's good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, that is our review of Pig.
Our next movie is
Patriot.
The Patriot.
Our longest movie yet. It's really long.
Yeah. I know.
Actually,
I've been dreading
it. This will be.
Is it longer than Shawshank?
Oh yeah, it's almost 3 hours.
Jeez.
2 hours and 45 minutes. You've seen The Patriot, right?
Okay. Once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, if you look at all my movies, they're all pretty short.
Yeah, I know.
7's long. Prisoners is kind of long. Walk the Line is pretty long.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're all like hour-and-a-half movies.
Yeah, I know. I have some short ones.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Jojo Rabbit, Iron Giant. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Is that one short? I don't know. Anyways, we should probably close this off.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You want to take us out?
Cool. Yeah. Well, as always, we thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed this review of Pig, one of Nicolas Cage's best movies. And yeah, we thank you so much for listening, and looking forward to next week and really the rest of this season. We're just, we love tackling these good movies and digging into what makes them good and bad, and even the great movies aren't perfect.
All right.
We have yet to come to a perfect movie. We'll see if we do. We'll see if we hit a perfect movie.
Yep.
Maybe it won't continue to go down. Maybe we'll have some more that go up. And I think it's possible. There's a lot of movies here to tackle, and yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. And if you want to support us, head over to Patreon, patreon.com/thepalabros, and just helps us be able to keep doing this. So yeah, thank you, and remember to glorify God and watch good movies. We're out.
See ya.
Bye.